Hi there, I'm Radhika Dhawad, and today I'm in conversation with director Ram Gopal Verma. A very warm welcome, sir.
Hi, thank you.
आपकी जो फिल्म है डेंजरस, it's quite a unique film. It's a love story, दो लेस्बियंस के बीच में, दो लड़कियों के बीच में ये एक मूवी है, एंड इंडिया की फर्स्ट फिल्म है जो ब्लॉकचेन के थ्रू इसका सेल होने वाला है. कुड यू प्लीज टेल अस कि एक्चुअली क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है?
Yeah. See, there are two issues to it. They just like because when after Section 372 repeal कर दिया Honorable Supreme Court in 2018 में, इसका मतलब is same-sex relationships को legitimize. Many countries did that before, so we also did that. तो मैंने सोचा कि instead of treating it like a social discord है, social disorder है, या उसको हम we are embarrassed about it, but to make it exactly like how these people will make a man-woman love story, and then in that instead of man-woman, if I keep two women, I think that is the best way to normalize something like that. So we take it for granted. It's not like we are not making an issue. We're actually taking it for granted. This also can happen. एक point है. Those are coming to the blockchain. I think it's a new technology which is being catching up very fast since the last few years. And I thought there was a great possibility of an entertainment industry to go into the NFT market, Yeah. So it's made the most simplistic way of understanding it is if the film, let us say, it costs 100 units, and I'm trying to make even the watchers business partners in the context, if they like the content, if they like the trailer, and if they feel there is a certain, marketable or certain issue to it, where they can gain from that, they can buy whatever number of units. Suppose somebody can buy 5, somebody can buy 10. So they will become, or in a ratio-wise approximate, that much of owner of the product. So when it releases in a theater or a streaming platform, on a pay-per-view or whatever it is, they will be the rightful receivers of the revenues generated in whichever form. That's the whole point. And blockchain is such a transparent and impossible to alter kind of a technology, where it cuts off all the intermediaries and goes straight from the buyer to the person who's buying the ticket to the actual person who made the thing, where it makes the transition and everything about it so smooth. Yeah, so this is the first time in the world actually for Dangerous, a full unreleased film being released on the blockchain.
आई थिंक ये भी पहली बार है कि एक मेन स्ट्रीम डायरेक्टर इतने बोल्ड और इतने कंट्रोवर्शियल टॉपिक पे एक मूवी बना रहे हैं.
जो भी पुराने फिल्म सब्जेक्ट के साथ बनी, जैसे फायर है, शबन आजमी और निता दास और मे बी 1 or 2 films more. But the point here is, like I said, it is not about the LGBT issue. It's not about the issue of same-sex relationship. Agar wo hai, suppose we can make a Dilwale Dulhania or a Rangila, for example, or a Devdas kind of a thing. I'm just giving random examples. Agar hum make man-woman, we think it's a normal thing to make that. The moment you make it the same sex, it completely becomes a new experience to watch it, which is what I wanted to capture. मैं वही सोच के खतरा song जो मैंने इसमें डाला है, जो duet है, we shoot hundreds of songs between a man and woman, but this will be the world's first lesbian duet where two girls are, because this is a commercial mainstream thing. This is not a film which I'm many times repeating myself. It's not about issue. It's not about addressing an issue. It is just a commercial feature film where instead of a man-woman, there's a woman-woman. That's all.
So as a director, आप कितने scared है, या फिर are you scared or are you not scared, firstly?
No, I'm never scared, because I always make very different kind of films out of the box, whether it is Nishabd or Bhoot, when I don't have songs or whatever. I just make something which I'm excited about, and then after that I leave it to the audience for them to like it.
So I want to know कि अभी आर्यन खान ड्रग केस के बारे में बहुत ज्यादा मीडिया कवरेज भी हो रहा है. So आपने भी अपने व्यूज ट्विटर पे काफी लिखे हैं, and you are quite openly आप अपने थॉट्स को एक्सप्रेस कर रहे हैं, आपने देयर आर सर्टेन ट्वीट्स ऑफ योर्स जो आपने किए हैं, दे आर क्वाइट गुड, बिकॉज आपने लिखा है कि वट एवर एक्सपीरियंसेस ही गोज थ्रू, आर्यन खान गोज थ्रू इन जेल, दैट आर गोइंग टू बी फार मोर difficult, and उससे
advantages, yeah, at
just
some time, yeah.
yeah कि like what his father had to go through से कई ज़्यादा difficult शायद he has to go through right now. So there are certain kinds of tweets of yours that you have made, but then there are certain tweets जिसमें आपने लिखा है कि उनका एक super duper एक launch हुआ है, तो there are some people who are confused about these tweets. If you could give a clarity.
See, I mean, see this. I mean, I always have give my opinion on a slightly satirical manner. So the satire was meant the fact that we all know all publicity eventually is good publicity. No such thing as bad publicity because it gets into the people's minds. Tomorrow it will come a point where Aryan Khan will be released. Of course, nobody doubts that. It is just a technical procedure which is taking the time. And second is whether he took the drugs or not. Nobody really cares about that in terms of as a user. If you take drugs once in a time, where these kind of things have been legalized in many countries, so no one takes it as a big deal except that under the Indian law, it's a crime. That's the whole point, correct? Yeah. So in that context, I feel more than that, like he's been born to a rich and famous father. And I would like to believe when the experiences he would have had in the last 1 month or so with the NCB or the jailmates or whatever, he would become much more richer as a person in sensitizing himself and to understand life the way it is outside Mannat. And that will make him a better actor to catch nuances of performance because of this real-time experience. So I think it will be eventually for the good of Aryan, no matter how long it takes. That's what I meant. Okay, then the fact that he's already a star because of Shah Rukh Khan's son, he's got a minimum base market which will be there, which his father's thing will come to him. Now with his additional thing, probably will become a better actor than Shah Rukh, and that will make him a super duper star. That's what I meant in that tweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But sir, how do you look at this? So many fingers are pointing towards Bollywood that, there's a drug problem, there's a drug menace, and we have to get rid of that. Like, there are drugs and there are drugs everywhere. You unfortunately step out of a college and you have peddlers. How do you also feel that Bollywood is being targeted, or as an insider, you actually...
I'm not sure. See, I think this targeted means, you see, the point is anyone famous, if you tend to get someone who's famous, like in the case of Shah Rukh Khan's son, obviously the media interest will be there, the people's interest will be there. For example, when did we hear about the drugs? At one time, at Sushant's time, maybe 1.5, 2 years back, then we heard it posts that recently when they were called some of the actors like Rakul Preet. Then after a long gap, again this Aryan thing. So what is NCB doing in between? Of course, it's doing a lot of work. It's catching a lot of people. But the people are not interested unless they are famous. Media is not interested unless they are famous. That's the whole point there. I would like to believe that it's a double-edged, like the fact that they are trying to use a film industry like an advertisement, that we are here, the NCB is here, and we are not going to leave even Aryan Khan if we catch him, let alone others, But I think the signal finally, what is coming out, recently I was talking to one person and he's taking drugs. I said, are you not scared after this whole thing happened, the overdrive of the NCB? He said, sirf NCB is sirf bade stars ko pagdi, humko kya pagdi? So the message didn't reach there. That's the point, for good or bad. So I think film industry being targeted is different, but when if at all a person, it's not like film industry will be immune to the law. So just in case somewhere they get caught, it's bound to blow up. I don't think it's intentionally from anybody's side to do that, because partly the media is doing it, partly the media is doing it because they know that the people are interested in seeing such stuff. And then, of course, that will have a kind of a rubbing effect on even the agency, and where they'll also go on a overdrive where celebrities are concerned.
So do you think that it's basically because of the people, the viewers, that the media is so inclined to cover this?
100%. I don't see any difference between the media and the people. See, the media supplies. Media is also industry. It's a business. And any business, it supplies to the consumer what the consumer wants. It is the voyeuristic, aspect of the psychological aspects of the general people, which is what the media caters to, as it should. The point is, because everybody is running a business and you're catering to somebody else. If you're talking to somebody, your interest is to entertain the other person. Otherwise, why would you talk?
Yeah.
So I think everything comes with some problems. So you have to see how you can tackle it. But for the sake of the problem, if you try to put curbs, I don't think that will work either. Yeah.
It has been said that because Aryan Khan is Shah Rukh Khan's son, he is paying a heavy price for that. How true do you think is this?
I mean, definitely, for sure. But I'm saying, but that goes, see, the fact that we have to look at the psychological aspect. If the whole attention is there, obviously everybody becomes very strict about the law, because anyone who's seeing doing something little out of the way will come under the scanner. So the law will be very strictly technically applied more to the celebrities than normal people because of the spotlight. Absolutely. If there are X number of people who are saying he's being a victim and they're overdoing the whole thing, and there'll also be an X number of people who will say that law is the same for everyone, why should it be treated differently? So caught in the crossfires, I think it's an impossible task even for the leaders or the agencies to do a job without getting influenced. Yeah.
This is quite a strong statement that you had once recently made, that marriages are made in hell and divorces are made in heaven. Yeah. Is there a certain kind of cynicism that has creeped in, or like what is
I think it is just reality, and anybody who's married will know that.
You think marriages are actually bad?
Yeah. Whether they might say it out or not is a different thing, but I think anybody who's married will 90% of them will believe it to be a hell, in my opinion.
You have said that you would have, speaking about Rangila, actually, you said that you would never make a Rangila even today, because you just made it so well at that point of time that it's impossible to make something like that again. But you made a remake of Sholay, even that's like a masterpiece. So do you ever regret making a movie as great as Sholay?
I never regret anything in my life, no matter what, whether it is remaking Sholay or anything for that matter, because I think eventually there are some total of experiences, and our experiences are arriving from a decision, and it is those same decisions which made me what I am, and it is those same decisions which gave me failures also. So I can't, they all come hand in hand. I can't really separate them in the context. Yeah.
Today it's almost 26 years of Rangila, and that's quite a cult classic movie. So how do you look at it? I mean, everyone watching the movie is mesmerized by Urmila Matondkar, and even today she looks just breathtaking. So how do you recall that experience of shooting with her?
See, for me, Rangila and Urmila are almost synonymous in my mind. I can't separate them as an actor and a film in the context, because I definitely, if I'd never met Urmila, I would have no way made Rangila. So they're both almost synonymous. They can't be separated. Like, it's not like I had the script and then I went around looking for someone who suits the role. I mean, I was inspired to make Rangila because of Urmila. So that's what I would say.
Kangana Ranaut had recently said that Urmila is a soft porn star who's not known for her acting, but someone like you, a director who has literally brought the best out of her, her acting has been critically acclaimed. You speak about Bhoot, you speak about Satya, Rangila. So as a director, does it pinch you?
I mean, see, first of all, I don't really care about criticism from anyone towards anyone, because I think everyone has an opinion, everyone has their own viewpoint, and everyone has their own sensibilities and the way they express. So whether it is a trollers or some critic or someone, I really don't care. Only to express my opinion in the context of what I think of Urmila as an actor. I think she's one of the most versatile actors, because I can hardly see anybody to do something as diverse and as versatile as a Rangila to a Bhoot to a Satya to things. They're all so different as chalk and cheese. And I think she did an extraordinary job in that. Yeah.
There's a certain interesting incident that you had once narrated about Tanha Tanha song from Rangila. It was about Asha Bhosle ji and A.R. Rahman ji. If you could just tell
Yeah.
that to our audience.
Yeah. Basically, when we're recording, there's the first song Asha ji sang for the film. And when Rahman works in these very small studios. So there was one small singing room. She was there, and me and Rahman were in the recording room. And song was over, and after that, and then Rahman played the whole song once, so just to hear it after the finishing the recording. And there was silence after the thing was over. So everybody was silent. So they did, and then after some time. Rahman said, how's it? He asked Asha ji, and Asha ji, yeah, I think it's okay. Aapko kya lagta hai? She said. Yeah, I think it's okay, he said. And then, you don't like it? No, I feel, but you don't like it, she said. Then I realized they both were waiting for other to praise. you know?
Oh
So Asha thinks it's his song, her song. Rahman thinks it's his song. So the moment it's over, he expected Asha ji to say, "Kya gana banaya aapne," which he didn't, because she was waiting for him to say how well you sung.
Because she actually
Me
sang.
being a neutral observer, I realized what was going on there. And I said that to both of them. The song is fantastic as a director and as a listener, as a guy who loves music, I'm saying. You two guys are getting caught in who's going to praise whom. It is just a small miscommunication, and they both started laughing after that. Yeah.
Talking about the film's title, actually, there's an interesting incident on that too. You were with Amir Khan, and that's how you just told him that this is going to be the name of the film, and he stopped by. So how
Yeah.
was what?
No, that's not how it happened. Actually, so we were coming from the shooting. At that time, the film was not titled yet. And we both were walking in this hotel in there's something called Bhaskar Palace in Hyderabad. And we were thinking of various titles, and something called Indradhanush, something called, okay, what is it called? Kudrat or Khubsurat, something. So as things were going, and we both were walking side by side, throwing off titles at each other. And then I said Rangila, out of the blue. That came into me also, I don't know. And I didn't get an answer. Okay, then I looked to the side and he wasn't there. And I looked back, he stopped. And he was looking at me, just tell me, what did he say just now? He said, I said Rangila. That's it, he said. I still remember that moment, yeah.
I was working.
And honestly, when I said it, I actually said it as one of the 6-7 titles I was suggesting. I didn't think of it as anything special from the others I was bouncing off him. But he connected to that so hard at the time. And then when I wanted to register it, of all the people it is registered for a Mithun Chakravarti film by someone, I was wondering why the hell would someone register title called Rangila with Mithun Chakravarti. And then I was told that that producer was not willing to give the title because already registered and he probably is about to start shooting or something. And then I told this to Amir, and we thought of some variation of that called Indradhanush or colors or X and Y, Rang, we thought. But Amir says nothing like Rangila, nothing going to replace that. And then I went again back to that producer and I kind of said, and then we offered him money to release the title. And finally, at some point of time, he felt very embarrassed that we were asking again and again. And he, like in good faith, he just gave out the title. That's how we got the title.
So was Amir a perfectionist even then, during even Rangila?
Yes. Amir was always a perfectionist in the 10 summers. A lot of people think that is interfering, and which is not true at all. I know a lot of actors who do that, but not Amir. Amir is genuinely passionate and genuinely works on a 100% concentration towards anything he does for that matter, not only film, even in something in his real life. So I would like to say that he's a perfectionist because he will take long time with concentrated. See, delaying a decision is different. Wasting time is different. Postponing a decision is different. He has a concentrated look towards what he thinks is right or not, and he gives respect to anybody and everybody. It's not like only I know. That is not what he is. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining with us, Mr.
Thank
Verma. Thank you so much, and all the best for the movie.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Subscribe to Nation Next YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates from Nation Next. Also like Nation Next Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.